I'm ready. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Lady Diane, if you don't know yet. I would like to say thank you for stopping by, and also a very big thank you to all the people that have been following me from the time I started uploading videos on my channel. Thank you very much. Thank you for the love, thank you for sharing the channel, and thank you for supporting me. I decided to make this video today because I've been having a lot of questions, you know. I decided to make this little video today to let you know more about me, who I am, what I do, so you can get to know Lady Diane a little bit better through every single videos. Well, as you know, you may not know if it's the first time you're here, I am Haitian. I'm a Haitian fashion designer. I live in the UK. I was born in Haiti. And I know when I say that to people, they ask about how come you're here in the UK, what happened, you know. So today I will tell you how I left my home country as a child, what happened, how it affected me. I was born in Haiti some 20 odd years ago. I left my home country when I was about 7, going to be 8. Around that age, I left Haiti to go to French Guiana, where my mom was living at the time with my little sister, my baby sister. Let's go back to Haiti now. So I am from a town called Aken, what we call Andéor. It's outside of Port-au-Prince. It's like the province. I was born at Aken, raised while I was there by my grandmother. So obviously this one focuses really on how I left Haiti. So there are things that I will not be talking about in this particular video. So we're gonna jump right from that day, what happened, you know, that special day when I left my home country. So one day, just so you understand, my mom wasn't living in the same country. She wasn't living in Haiti at the time. She was in French Guiana, yeah? So one day, 2 men came by in a car, stopped at what we call our lakou, which is our land where we were living. And they were talking to my grandma. I was all dressed up, you know. I did not really understand. I was wondering what they were talking about. Couldn't hear, you know. And they approached me, showing me a picture. And that picture was a picture of me, my mother, and my sister. Because my mother came back at some point with my baby sister. And when she came back, we took pictures. So they showed me that picture. And I knew from that point is I have to follow whoever showed me that same particular picture. That was the password, you know. Whoever has that picture, show you that picture, tell you your name and your mother's name, you have to follow them. I was very scared because at the time as well, I was very scared of men. I had this anxiety of being around men. And remember, my grandma hugged me. She was crying. And then I said to her, why are you crying? It's not like I'm going to die. But somehow at the time, while I was saying those things, it was kind of like I wanted her to tell me I'm not going to die, because I didn't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm gonna see. And like I said, this anxiety of being around men for me represented death. And so I said to her, it's not like I'm going to die, you're going to see me again, because I wanted her to reassure me that I'm gonna be back, or I'm not going to die, or they're not gonna hurt me. I said my goodbyes to my grandma, followed those men, and it was a very long trip from where I was, my little town in Andéor, to Port-au-Prince. It was a very long time for me as a child. It is in real life a very long time, like maybe 4 hours or so, if not more. So imagine that as a child, you know, even 5 minutes seems to be a very long time for you. I didn't really see much cars. In my little town, we didn't really see many cars. So while traveling, I remember at some point I look at the window and, you know, you see trees, you see everything moving forward while the car is moving. And it's kind of like, I remember my town, I remember my grandma, and I remember all the things that I know so far, and I don't know where I'm going. So it was kind of like I was losing myself little bit by little bit. Every second I was saying bye to everything that I know, and I don't know where I'm going. Got to Port-au-Prince. It was dark. It was night time. We got to a very big house. I had to stay in this house. I do not know how many days I stayed there at all. I can't remember anything that happened in that house at all. I can't remember up to right now. It's just black when I try to think about it. All I can remember is from the time the car stopped, I got off and I entered the house with those people with me. I don't know faces. I know they were men, but I do not remember particular features at all. Whether dark, whether light, I do not know anything at all. I would not be able to describe the house. It was for me big because I was a little child, so everything seems big around me. All I know is somehow I had to leave this place in Port-au-Prince in order to get to Suriname. I will not be able to tell you how I did, because I do not know what happened from the time I entered this house. I don't know how I got out of this house. I do not know at all. I don't know how I left Haiti from that point to find myself in Suriname. It's all black. All I can remember is, obviously after I have left, I was in front of a door and those men knock. A woman opened the door. And from that moment when I saw this lady, I felt like I could breathe a little bit. I felt more secure because it was a woman. I stayed at this woman's house for I don't know how many days or weeks. I do not know at all. I'm still working on it, asking questions in order to understand everything. So after I stayed there, little bit by little bit, I got comfortable with her. She treated me really well. I was just like a daughter. So after some days or some weeks, another man talked to the lady and then approached me and showed me the picture. It was a different man, but the same picture. Here I go. I follow instructions they gave me from day one. Whenever you see the picture, they tell you your name, your mother's name, you have to follow. So I was a bit scared, you know, because somehow I had the idea in my head that I was going to meet my mom again. But I'd been comfortable with this lady and having to travel again with another man. I was really scared. I was really scared because I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I have to follow. So I said my goodbyes to the lady who looked after me. I can't remember her name, but it's something that I do need to remember. I do want to remember. I'm still trying to. From that point, I was in Suriname, right? Live with this man. I can't even remember if I had like baggages. You know, as a child, you go in somewhere, even if you go in a road trip or something, you have like a teddy, you have some type of comfort. I didn't have any of this. So we left. So between Suriname and French Guiana, there is that big, I don't know if they call it a lake or if it's a sea, but there's like that big, I would call it river, that big river that you have to cross in order to get to the other side, which is French Guiana. So we got to that place where I'm in front of that big river, but also there was like a ferry, type of like a ferry, you know, like, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the boat that you board with cars and stuff to get to different places, yeah? I don't know how big it was. I will have to go back to that place as an adult to understand. But the fact that I was just so small, everything seemed so big. So for me, it was just big. And I was scared because the little town where I'm from, all we have is donkeys, you know, and horses. It was just big, and I keep thinking, is it a monster? Like, what is it? Are they gonna feed me to that beast, you know? Because one thing you need to know, if you're Asian, I think you will understand, is back home our stories, It's full of monsters, full of people who eat children and things like that, like spirit living underwater, everything you can think of. So for me to be there in front of this big lake and have this big, at the time I didn't know it was a boat or whatsoever, ship, everything for me is negative. I don't feel right. I have this knot in my stomach. Am I gonna board this big thing? Or they're gonna eat me? I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know who's waiting for me inside. And I will have all this question, and I'm so scared of this man. I don't wanna ask them question. I wasn't talking, you know? Now when I see people coming with cars, boarding, I'm just watching and being scared. And I look at the water. I was still, you know, on the side, like on the reef. I wasn't on the ferry or whatsoever. When I'm looking at the water, it's all dark. I can't see under. I can't see anything. I'm talking as the child that I was, you know. So I was like, how many monsters are there? For me, there was monsters for sure. How many? You know, how is it so dark? You know, I couldn't see anything. Because back home, when we go to rivers or when you go to the beach, it's blue, it's see-through, you can see things, you can see the fishes and stuff. But it was just dark and brown, and so I had all those anxiety, all those questions in my head that I was so scared to even ask. So my big surprise, we were not gonna go on the boat. At the time, I don't know how they do it, because you stay there and then they talk with other people. Maybe it was a type of negotiation, I do not know. But to my big surprise, I wasn't gonna go onto the boat, but I was gonna go into something that I call kayak. I don't know if it's the right name in English. I will try to show a picture so you know what I'm talking about. So we had this small kayak, which this is where I was going to travel to get to the other side. And I'm scared. I wanna cry. I want my grandma, but she's not here, and I'm scared of crying my feelings in all my thoughts, but it was just negative. And then they helped me onto this kayak. I don't know how many people were on it, but I felt like I had men around me, and I did not feel comfortable with that at all. We got into the kayak, you know, and I'm there. The other side, I don't know the real life distance, but in my head, the other side seems so long, so far away. And at some point, one of the men had me like I would call it Haitian way, kui, something made of wood, like a shape of a bowl, like a wooden bowl. And I had to scoop water out of that kayak because water was coming through, and me and other people, we had to scoop the water in. Today I understand, in order not for the kayak to sink. So I'm there scooping the water and still wondering what is going to happen, where I'm going, when is it going to stop, who else gonna come with that same picture, how long, because this has been a very long time. From the time I left my grandma, there was no contact or whatsoever. It's not like now where you have WhatsApp, phone calls. It's just like everything that I had was her. Everything positive I had was her. And I couldn't even hear her voice. And I asked those questions that I want her to answer. Is why? Where I'm going? What's gonna happen? I felt like it was just like a sacrifice, you know? You've been sacrificed for whatever reason. So I'm scooping water, skipping water out, scooping water out. Got to the other side. Finally, there's a car now coming with other men. And then same story, that's follow, approach me, show me the picture, and I have to follow. And I'm just asking myself, okay, I survived that big monster that I saw. I survived all the monsters under the water. So which one is coming for me next? Follow those people to the car, drive, and I'm scared to sleep, you know, I'm scared to sleep because I don't know what's gonna happen. And I see outside, it looks a bit familiar to Haiti, you know, the trees, but Am I still in Haiti? I don't know anymore. I didn't have the notion of other countries, you know. So for me, it was just the whole world was just Haiti, but everything is like far away. But I'm not in my town. I'm not in Aki anymore. I know that for sure because we've been driving for so long. And then at some point, one of the guy, because the man was with me at the back, he said to me that I need to pretend that I'm sleeping, and I'm scared because I don't know why. I don't want to sleep. Why do I have to pretend to sleep? But I don't ask questions because I'm scared. I don't know those people. So I'm just asking myself question. Why do I have to sleep? I don't want to sleep. What if I close my eyes and do not wake up? And then I had to sleep because a police car or the guards or I don't know was approaching. So I just executed myself while asking myself all the question. I closed my eyes. So hot. I wanted to see, but I had to follow instruction. I had to keep my eyes closed. My heart was beating so loud. At some point, I wanted my heart to stop beating because I was scared that they're gonna hear my heartbeat. And I can hear them talking a language that I do not understand. And the men in the car are replying to the question, and I'm there trying not to open my eyes. I have to keep my eyes shut, and I want to stop my heart from beating so loud. I can't. After what seems to be a very long time for me, I don't know, maybe real life it would be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know. But after that, we kept on driving, and after a little while he told me I could open my eyes now. So I opened my eyes and I'm just wondering what's next, you know, what's gonna come next. We've been driving for God knows how long. I suppose we had to stop for breaks. I don't know. Did we have food in the car? I don't remember. All I remember is all the questions I was asking, all the why me, where I'm going, where is my grandma, am I really gonna meet my mom, is that real? And at some point I have lost all the hope of meeting my mom. I just thought it was just a long drive to death. That's what I'm gonna meet at the end, is death. After a very long time, I got to a house. We arrived and the man opened the door. I can see this. There was like a big tree in front of the house. It wasn't like a house as a proper house. It was like we have all these little houses stuck together. It was my first time because back in Haiti where I'm from, it was everybody has their own house, but we're like separated, you know. But all this little thing, it wasn't tower but like little flats together. It was like I'm trying to see, I'm trying to understand. Do I know where I am? I don't. And I'm like, who's out there? So we passed the big tree. On the left side, he knocked on the door, and who opens the door? My mother. My mother opens the door, and in my head I said, I can't be happy because I'm still in the car. From the time he told me to close my eyes, I think I'm still in this car, my eyes are still closed and I'm just dreaming. So I can't be happy to see her because then I will wake up and she will never be there, you know. So I'm there and she grabbed me, she hugged me tightly, but I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, this is something I want from a very long time, you know. See her again, being with her again. But I don't want it because I'm going to wake up anyways and you will not be here. So I felt nothing at all when she hugged me. One day went past, 2 days, a week maybe, and I was just wondering, is that real? You know, is she there? Is that really my mother? Because she looks like her. She seems to be her. And my little sister was there as well. But is it going to be for real? Because I met them before they left. So is it going to be real? After weeks and weeks, I understand that it was real, but it did not feel as it used to feel in my dream, where I could start again, where I would be happy, you know. It felt really weird. I was missing my grandma because it's who I know from the time I was born to up to right now, you know. She was the one I knew, she was the one I needed right now, but I couldn't have. No contact, you know, or whatsoever for a very, very long time. It was, I remember at the time, my mom would make like cassettes, you know, like tapes where we talk and we send back home. But you know, apart from that, there was no contact, no phone calls. So it was really weird, and it was emotional, like all the emotion. I didn't know what I was feeling at the time. I was just feeling them, you know, and always wondering, asking myself questions, because I felt like I can't ask those questions out loud, you know. I can't, because I'm scared of the answers. Trying to adapt to that new routine, a new life, trying to be with this woman that I thought I was gonna love, but it was kind of like I couldn't love her. I don't know at the time. Once again, I'm speaking with the voice of the child that I was. So I'm like, I don't want to love you anymore. I miss my grandma. I miss my real mother. I knew, you know, from the time I was living with my grandma that my mom wasn't there, and one day I would live with her. So I had this ideal world of how things would have been with her, but then it wasn't like that. I didn't want that anymore. I couldn't go to school. And one thing also is, from the time I left my home country up to being there, the only child I have met so far is my sister. But because there are so many things I can't remember, maybe I did meet other kids, I don't know. So with my little sister, maybe my sister was going to be 2 at the time, you know. We are 7 years apart, and I'm like, I would like to go to school, because I was going to school in Haiti, but I'm just sitting in this house. There's nothing happening for me. At this point, my mom had God knows how many jobs, so she didn't really have much time. I was constantly at home with my sister by myself, and it's not like Haiti where, you know, you have like the outside bit where you run out all day. No, it was this different. Stay in the house. I was scared of touching everything. We had TV for the first time, but it's just, it wasn't my comfort. So I'm there wondering, when can I go to school? In real life talking, I don't know how long I'm working on this to find out how long exactly I spent in French Guiana without going to school. And I remember one day another man came and dropped me to where it was going to be now my school. It wasn't far from where we're living, but it was a school, not a formal school, but a school for kids like me, you know, for Haitian kids like me who couldn't go to school. So I was going to that school. I was just being broken and wonder what next, what next. That was my words every single day. And my mom didn't see much of her because of her jobs. So I would leave school, go to my auntie's house, which is actually my mother's auntie's house, stay there, then go back home when it's time for my mom to be at home. But we did get to the point where I will go to a normal school. It was further than the other school, the first school I was in. We had to get like a bus for how many minutes, I don't know. Maybe like 45 minutes, I do not know. So the first couple of time I've been to that school, I will go with someone, my mom would come with me to show me the way, and then I was in charge of bringing myself to that school and coming back home. So I was excited, like maybe that's the difference that I needed. Maybe I'm gonna meet other kids, maybe I will feel better. So go to that school. So far, although people I've met are my mom's family, where I was in the family, my auntie and my mom and my sister and my stepdad at the time. Go to the school, very excited, you know. Go to the school for the first time. It was tough. It was tough because from the time I entered this school, this classroom, they look at me in a way that it wasn't like curiosity of who she is, but I felt like it was like I was so different, you know. They look at me weirdly, bizarrely, like I would say. They look at me weirdly, and I was trying to force myself to make friends. It was tough because they only saw my differences first. They didn't like Haitian at the time in French Guiana. But as a child, I wasn't aware of those things, you know. It was very tough for Haitian people back then, you know. So I felt it in school, but at the same time, I did not understand what it was. It was mockeries after mockeries. Why is my nose like that, that size? Why is my lips so also black? You know, it was just negative. And I faked everything for a very long time. I faked that those things did not touch me, but deep inside, when I go home, when I go to bed, I'll be crying. I'll be crying for my grandma, because at least back in Haiti, when days were tough, I had my night time where she was there hugging me and I felt safe. I didn't have those anymore. They saw me as a monster. That's what it is. That's what it was. And I remember, to overcome all the bullying, I said to myself, in order for me to survive, I have to be the monster they describe, you know? I want to be that monster to protect myself. So I turned myself into that monster. I was very violent, you know? Like, people will not get away with anything. If you attack me, like, you will wake up the monster that I wanted to be. That I had to build the monster that they made of me. The monster that they saw. I wanted to be that monster really, really badly, because that was my way to survive. Very violent, very tough, you know, very hard. But I was still a good student, a good pupil in class. At home, I couldn't really express what was going on in school, because first of all, my mom wasn't really around, and then I was scared of showing those things. But it has been tough. I did not have a friend. You know, when you're in school, in primary school, you're like, yeah, I've got so and so is my friend. I didn't have that. I didn't have friends. This is what my life as a child was in French Guiana. It was very tough. I think what made it harder for me was the fact that I was not only going through all those things, but I didn't know, I didn't understand those things. Now come the time when my mom announced me that I will go back to Haiti. I was happy and hurt at the same time. I was happy because I was like, I'm going back to my mother, you know, I'm going back to my grandma. But I was sad because I felt like I must be a monster, because she's supposed to be my mother, but she's sending me back. So I felt anger. I rejected her. But while I was rejecting her, I wanted her love. I wanted her to show me all those things I was dreaming of, but she wasn't showing me. And now she's sending me back home. And in my head, I'm like, why did you even bring me here? I was angry. I was crying. And I'm asking myself this question. Why did you even bring me here? Why those people had to treat me the way they treated me? How come you're treating me the way you are treating me? And all this just to send me back home. I was already home. So I don't understand it. What's wrong with you? Or what's wrong with me? And at that point, I felt like she never had any love for me. She would never love me. All I have to do, once more, execution. I have to execute. I have to obey. I have to follow rules. And I was gonna travel by myself. And I remember this time I traveled on a plane, as I do not remember anything else from before. But I do remember that they came, took me to the airport. At some point, she said bye to me. She hugged me, but I wasn't feeling anything. She was crying. I was like, why are you lying? Because that's what you want to do, get rid of me. So I don't understand your tears. Got on the plane. Before we got on the plane, so she had to go through the border with me. and hand me to that steward. I think that's how you call them in English. You know, the lady who worked on the plane. So she was very lovely, very, very, very lovely with me. She took me everywhere with her, show me things, give me toys. Yes, for the very first time I had toys, you know, to travel with, give me things to do during. But I still had my question. I was happy I'm going to see my mother, but I had my question. Why do I have to go through all those? Why? Like, why me? On the plane, I was once more scared. I don't know if it was the first time I was on the plane, because maybe I was on the plane from Haiti to Suriname, I don't know. But it was the first time that I can remember, and I was scared. And I'm like, that big thing is gonna fly with me inside. You know, it was just another story of monster. But on the plane, the lady sat me somewhere. She checked on me all the time. She was very, very lovely. But I was scared. Tried to look at the window, and I was like, there's nothing there. I'm in the air. Got to Haiti safely, with all my anxiety, all my question, all my sadness with me. I don't know how. So at this point I was like, what's more? Someone picked me up from the airport, someone from my family, another long trip back to my little town. But it was different this time, because through the windows I see faces. I see the thing that I know, you know, like the open market. You hear noises, voice that are familiar, like a language that is yours. So I felt a bit safer, and I know now where I'm going, to my loving grandmother. So it was safer to travel. Go back to Haiti. My auntie at the time, who was in France, my mom's sister, was there as well. And then that's when I found out with her that I am going to travel to France whenever she's ready to leave. And I'm like, what is France? What is France? I don't know what's gonna be there for me. And I had in my head somehow that I knew my father was in France. Maybe when I get to live with my dad, I'll be happy. So I held on to that dream. My mother was no longer in the picture. My mother was no longer in my dream, but he was there. Maybe that's what's missing, because I tried with her. Maybe that's what's missing. I don't know how many weeks or months we stayed in Haiti. I would not be able to tell you, but we traveled from Haiti to France, and I can remember everything. I had to lose my name, to lose who I am. And I'm not saying losing my name in terms of just, you know, in writing. I had to lose everything to become a new person, to be able to travel. So it was just confusing. This doesn't feel right, because I feel like I'm not allowed to be myself. Why do I have to pretend to be someone else? But I don't ask question. I'm still holding on to that dream of I'm gonna meet my dad, you know. Got on the plane and went through all the borders from Haiti to France. Everything was fine. We got to France, it was around summertime, so I didn't feel the cold yet. Got to France, it was another, you know, like type of community houses. Now we call it tower, but at the time I didn't know. Where my auntie lived on the 4th floor. It was a 3-bedroom house with a front room. So my auntie was there with 4 of her kids, her husband at the time, and another uncle. So that's my auntie, 2 of my cousin, 2 of my other cousin, the husband, 6 so far, the other uncle, 7, myself, 8. And later on we had more people in this house. In total, as far as I can remember, we ended up being 15 of us in this house. But it was a bit different because I had my cousin in the house, you know. I could be a child, like playing wise. Then I go to school, and what was nice is the fact that from the window where we're living, you could see the school downstairs. It was very close, 1-minute walk. So I didn't have to travel, you know, for 45 minutes on the bus anymore. It was kind of cool, but it was different as well, still different. At some point, my mom came with my little sister. But you know what? After all my hope being broken, she was just there. I didn't care anymore, you know, I didn't care anymore. And I met my dad for the very first time, face to face, at the age of 10. And I said to myself, from now, you are allowed to be, you know, from now you can be you. But God, it was tough. It was very, very, very tough because my dad was married, you know, had his own family on the side. I did not fit. Let's just say it like that. I did not fit. I don't want to go deep into details because those details, there are people I need to talk to first. People who could be hurt, my sisters and brothers in particular. So I don't really want to go inside of the details yet, but I didn't fit. Life-wise, I was just a broken child, you know. I've been a broken child from God knows how long. So I was just being a broken child. And at that point I thought, well, there is no one now. My grandma is not here. I tried with my mom, I tried with my dad. So it's just what destiny has for me. I just have to take whatever lies throw at me and be happy with it. Primary school was all fine. We moved home at some point. We lived in a little studio with just me, my sister and my mom. Plus my mom's brother came as well. So it was all good. My mom got married. I had another little brother. So now it was the three of us. We moved home again one more time. Now I'm becoming a teenager now. Go to school. I was just faking being whoever people wanted me to be fair. But deep inside I was broken and I was always asked the question, why me? Why me? And I couldn't get any answer. So I just accepted everything. Just say thank you, please, bye, and close your mouth. So now this is when Lady Diane was born. Always draw, you know, draw pictures, always write. I was always sewing. That was my escape. Doing things, you know, making things keep me focused. And then I had the vision of all the things I wish I could have been, all the things I wanted to be. That kept me going. But as this video focused more on how I left Haiti and what happened, how it affected me, I'm not gonna lose track, you know. But Lady Diane was born from me becoming a teenager, me seeing physical changes and still going through my emotional things. So Lady Diane was my dream, that the dream lady I always wanted to be. Her strength, her beauty, you know, everything that she is, I wanted to be. So I just dream about those things. Now coming to the experience bit as an Haitian in France. Wow, it was tough once more. And you know when you like everything you do in life, you changing home, changing country, like different friends, are kind of tough for you to adapt. But the fact that you're already broken when you go through those things, it's just like makes things harder, 10 times harder, 20 times harder for you. And that's what happened for me. But I have to end this video here because it will be another subject to answer. My life as a Haitian teenager in France. If I go through my whole entire experience as a Haitian in all these countries, this video will never end. So I'm gonna say thank you for watching this video. Thank you for connecting with me. Stay connected. You will have more of my life, my beautiful life. You know, indeed, life is beautiful. I understand it today. Me choosing to make those videos, or me choosing to be on YouTube talking about real life things, I don't just do it for me, you know, because I went through my trouble. I came out of my trouble. I have my therapy, you know. But when I analyzed my life, I understand that if I had this voice that you listened to some times ago, I would have been better, you know, earlier. So I feel like for me, it would be selfish to go through those things and find my cure and just keep it quiet and keep it for myself. So that's why I decided to make this video. So thank you, because you take the time to listen. All I can say when I look into my own life is it doesn't matter what you've been through. I'm not saying it wasn't hard, but trust me, if you open your eyes, not just your physical eyes, but open also your heart, you will understand that someone else may have been through worse, you know. If I can sit today here, being a fashion designer, being a writer, if I can have a smile on my face, I can tell you. And the more you stay connected to my channel, the more you will understand what I'm saying right now. I can tell you, if I have done it, so can you. You have the right to dream, but most of all, you have the right to live your dream. I'm not gonna say that I understood that late. No, better late than never. Be you, be free.